Okay, so I promised you I would try and record some today. Here we are, Oaks, PA, RetroCon right behind me. The line wraps around the building. It is huge. I promised you guys I would try and shoot some video this year. I would try and remember, but here we go. This is the start. It's Saturday morning, first day. Me and the guys, they're in line waiting for me. We're pumped. We're ready for this. Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Time of recording, it is Monday morning. Me and the guys just got back late last night from RetroCon 2024. Probably one of the best RetroCons we've been to since we started going. This was even better than the 10-year anniversary show that took place, I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2020 maybe? That was the 10-year anniversary, I think. But we had no, 2022. 2022 was the 10-year mark, and we had a real fun time at that one, but we had a blast at this one. The crowd was great, the vendors were great, the cosplayers were great. It was a nice full venue, but it wasn't like shoulder to shoulder packed. It was just a really good experience. Now, having said that, I need to apologize for two things. First and foremost, as I've mentioned before, I'm not really good at shooting the cons. I go to a convention and I'm pretty much there in the moment. I'm experiencing things with everybody else. I'm not really good at shooting video. While I think I did better for this one than I have in previous ones, I completely forgot to shoot any B-roll for this. So there's no sweeping crowd shots. There's no shots of the cosplayers that I mentioned, not even the ones that we stopped and talked to. And so sorry about that. The other thing I want to apologize for is how I looked in that intro. If you remember from last Friday, this past Friday, I shot the Target Fall Geek Out video at about 4:30 in the morning. I was still up and I shot that video. And truthfully, after I was done shooting, editing, and then posting that video, I never really went to sleep. So from basically Friday morning, I had been up since about 4:30 in the morning. Met up with they came and picked me up at 12. We had the 5-hour drive into Oaks, PA, and then we actually stayed up all night at the hotel playing some HeroQuest. And I didn't get to sleep until probably about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. And then we woke up early because we had the weekend passes. So we got advanced entry into the convention on Saturday morning for the first day. So I hadn't had much sleep at the time when I shot that opening video. So sorry about the way the bags are under the eyes. Sorry about the way I look. I looked at that video when I started editing this and I was like, oh, I look terrible. But I got it. I did that for you. So when we went to RetroCon, like I said, this one was one of the best that we had been to. Usually when I go to RetroCon, I have a list of things that I'm looking for. And this year, it was not a long list, and there was some carryover from previous years. But one of the things that I was looking for was the G.I.Joe Classified Deluxe Snow Serpent. I never picked that up, and I was looking for one of these. I saw one last year, but for some reason I didn't get it. Classified was actually like not as prevalent at this one as I've seen it at other conventions. I was very interested in that. There wasn't nearly as much classified available. But I was looking for the Snow Serpent, didn't have that either. Something else that I was looking for was my 6-inch scale Jada Toys Universal Monsters. They never made the Mummy. So I was looking for a 6-inch scale Mummy. It didn't necessarily have to be a Universal Monsters Mummy. I just wanted a 6-inch scale Mummy to go along with my Jada Toys line to sort of like finish that out, because I got Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein's Monster, Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Glow-in-the-Dark Creature from the Black Lagoon. As far as the standard monsters go, the only thing that is needed to fill that out is this Mummy figure, a 6-inch Mummy figure. Nada. Didn't have it. Might have to go with the NECA Toys 7-inch Mummy, let the Mummy be a little bit taller, but then he would be taller than Frankenstein's monster. I don't know. So I was looking for one of those. What else was I looking for? The DC Icons Deathstroke the Terminator was one that I was looking for. This was a carryover from last year. I didn't find him. Saw some Deathstroke figures, not the DC Icons one. Really wanted that one. Something else, something new that I'm getting into because I've pre-ordered Wave 2 from Super 7, that I wanted the Super 7 Ultimates Conan figure, the first one that came out, and that was basically Wave 1, and this is from like issue 1 of the Marvel comic run. I was looking for that as well, missed it when it first came out. And finally, something that I am always on the hunt for, my boy, Decompose. So with all of that in mind, what did I find? None of it. Goose egg. None of this stuff was there. Not the old, not the new. Saw some Metlar, didn't see any Decompose. Like I said, saw some other versions of Deathstroke from the older DC lines, not the Icons one that I wanted. Saw some Super 7 Ultimates Conan figures from the movie, not the comic version. Like, saw the card-backed retro card of the Snow Serpent, didn't see the Deluxe. So basically, I saw everything I was looking for just to the left, though. Like, it was all of the, like, just to the left versions. The Mummy, I'm surprised. I couldn't find anything for a Mummy other than the NECA Boris Karloff one. So I was kind of surprised that, like, the Mummy wasn't there. Usually, at this time of year, going into Halloween, the vendors have, like, some Halloween decorations, some Halloween-themed stuff, some Universal Monsters. Nothing for the Mummy. So the first table we're taking a look at here, and I know somebody that would love these things, but these, y'all know I'm like getting into like the Super 7 D&D stuff. I might get these reaction figures, but Uncle Britt's hand is in the way. Here, it's still in the way. Here is Robotech right here. Like, I love Robotech, but I haven't actually gotten anything for Robotech. This might be a good place to start. We have the original HeroQuest here. We were playing this in the room last night. Maybe I'll take a shot of the video of our game, but this is... How much is this one? I know I was here before, but I completely missed this. How much is the...
Dungeon Master. I have this at... I have it at $275 because it is unpunched.
Okay.
Pieces haven't been touched.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So everything's as it was factory new.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
One thing that I did find that kind of surprised me, and that takes us into something we had already spoken about, was the HeroQuest. I found this. I had just bought HeroQuest. I think I may have done an unboxing for it. I just got HeroQuest over the summer. I found the Path of the Monk expansion figure for HeroQuest, which I was really excited about because this guy is really hard to find and is really expensive. But I found this for a really decent price, and it's already opened. It was sealed in plastic when I found it, but I already opened it up because we used it to play some on Saturday night. So for HeroQuest, I really love these little character boxes that they come in. And as far as I know, unfortunately, only 2 classes come in this. The Path of the Wandering Monk and the Rogue, which I don't know what the full title is for that. But other than that, I think all the other expansion character classes come in expansion packs, and you can't just buy the character individually. Now, the way that this opens up is this just slips out, and then this folds out, and then we have a little write-up right here. In losing oneself, one may find the world. And then we have the box that opens up, which I love the deco on it. I love the detail work. The whole thing is fantastic. This opens up, and we have a little mini diorama inside, which is just awesome. We have our male monk and our female monk counterpart. I tore the cardboard a little bit when I opened these the first time, so that's sticking up some. But we also have this scroll in here. And I was trying to figure out what this scroll was, but it looks like, honestly, it's an invitation to a tournament, First Summer Moon, Avoid the Wilds, and it's a map on how to get there. And on the back, World's End Tournament, Warrior, heed the call and test your mettle for glory and gold. This doesn't have any additional adventures with it, but I'm guessing this is just sort of like an in-game prop reason for why the monk has actually joined the party. It's just to test his skills. So we slip this back on. There we go. And then this pulls out, which is really cool. And you can look at the figures. And I mean, there's not a whole lot of detail to them, at least none that you can really see with the red. I wish I was better at painting minis, that I could give these a paint job, because they do look kind of cool. I love how the female is carrying the staff. So the other interesting part about this is we pull this out and you have your cards right here. And the monk very much operates like the Avatar, that they have access to all the elements. Each card has 2 elemental powers, and they refresh after pretty much every battle. It's really cool. It sounds a little OP, but it's not. It's really not. This is the elemental style. The monk uses elemental styles, martial abilities inspired by the elements of air, earth, water, and fire. Each elemental style contains 2 techniques that can be found on either side of its card. Once per turn, choose 1 technique to activate. After you use a technique, that elemental style is exhausted. The elemental style of fire cannot be used until you have exhausted air, earth, and water. And that's because fire is pretty much the most devastating attack that you have out of all the elemental styles. It really is like an end game boss battle type attack. And then you have your 2 monk cards right here, one for the male, one for the female. I'm not going to dive too much into it. Uncle Britt was playing the monk when we were playing, and he was having a lot of fun. As a huge fan of Avatar, he was definitely having a lot of fun. But maybe we will do a Friday night game night soon, and we will play some HeroQuest, and we will include the monk so that if you weren't able to get the monk, you can see how it operates, how they operate in game.
And up top, we got a Chitara here for not too much. I just got the Lion-O Deluxe figure, and I'm already thinking of maybe expanding on that. The Lion-O is sold out, by the way. I'm glad I snagged mine when I did, but Chitara for $55, like that's the price.
So last Friday during the Target Fall Geek Out, I did pre-order Monkian and Lion-O from the Super 7 ThunderCats Deluxe figures that went up on Target for their Fall Geek Out. Currently, those figures are both sold out on Target, but one thing that I noticed is the Godzilla figures on the Target website say Target exclusive or only at Target, I forget which. There's nothing about that on the ThunderCats Deluxe figures, and I kind of feel like something like that wouldn't be a Target exclusive. It might be one of those deals with like NECA and some of their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures that Target gets first dibs, like first release, and then eventually they'll be released at other retailers like Walmart, Big Bad, Entertainment Earth, places like that. I'll be interested to see if that happens, because I think that's really going to affect the rest of the line moving forward, because I can't see the first 2 figures of what is essentially a new version of the line, ThunderCats Deluxe, that's supposed to be more available at retail. I can't see them being completely exclusives for the entire line. Also, when we were at the convention, not only did I see some ThunderCats Ultimates that I was almost like, ooh, maybe I should get this to start padding out. I was like, no, that's don't do that. The whole reason you went in on the Deluxe is because they don't have the price tag that the Ultimates does. Plus, I'm not that into ThunderCats. Like, it's going to be cool to have some of them. I want the core group. I want the core villains. I don't know if I'm going to go deep into the line. But I did notice that Monkian, if we go by the renders that I believe are digital renders on Target's website for Monkian, I think there's 2 differences between the Deluxe Monkian and the Ultimates Monkian, because I did see some Monkians at RetroCon that, first of all, I feel like the Deluxe version might have a truer paint job to the cartoon. that it's more tan. Monkeyin to me in Ultimates looked more brownish, like a reddish brown, whereas like the paint job for the Deluxe figure I feel like is more in line with what we saw in the cartoon. Also, if we go by the renders, I feel like the joints are going to be pinless, and I think the original Ultimates had pinned for Monkeyin. I think I saw that. I can't remember 100% when I was looking at it, but I think the original Ultimates Monkeyin had pinned joints, and maybe the Deluxe version is going to be pinless. Now, speaking of the Fall Geek Out, don't forget that this Friday coming, there's 2 things happening this Friday. We have week 3 of the Target Fall Geek Out, which I'm not entirely sure what's going to be put up there, but Friday is also PulseCon, which means a lot of Hasbro stuff is going to go live. For what I follow, we know that Starduster is going to be the G.I.Joe PulseCon exclusive. I don't know what else is going to be released for PulseCon. I'm going to try and shoot a video. I'll have something in the morning for the Target Fall Geek Out. Probably won't be something until late afternoon or even into the evening for PulseCon, at which point some of that stuff might be sold out with the way that things go. So I'm not entirely sure even what time PulseCon is going to go live, like what time the releases will be. Usually it's in the afternoon, like 12 to 1 Eastern time. So just keep checking on that. Don't wait for my video. Check out some other people's videos. They might be able to tell you the time. Remember, I've been gone all weekend. I haven't even noticed what time PulseCon is going to go live. I'm probably going to be experiencing it in real time on Friday as it's happening. But with this being Monday, there's 2 other things that are happening. Monday time of recording anyway. Dragon Man is live for pre-orders. Dragon Man, I think, sort of replaced the Hasbro Marvel Legend HasLab, that it is up for pre-order, and it's a limited window. I believe it's only available for pre-order until the 17th, but I think they're taking as many pre-orders as they can get up until that point. And so there shouldn't be an issue of being sold out, just the time allotted. So between now and I think it's October 17th, let me check here real fast. Yeah, for a limited time, pre-order now through October 17th, and that is Dragon Man, 10 inches tall, 17.5 inches wide. And with how this goes, I'm going to be very curious to see how this affects HasLabs going forward. Like, the price point on this might be right, and they might get enough people to order that I'm going to be very curious to see if we're going to start to see more things like this with a limited pre-order window where they don't necessarily need to hit a certain number, but they'll shut it off after a certain date so they can just put in the order for all of the pre-orders that they have, rather than doing something like a HasLab. I'm really curious to see how that works. And speaking of the HasLab, today, time of recording, it'll probably be over by the time you read this, by the time you see this, the Rattler ends tonight. I still haven't decided if I'm going to back it. I just don't seem that excited about it. The only thing I want is Wild Weasel. We'll have to wait and see. We'll both be surprised when this is over.
And then there's this, like, how heartbreaking is that? I still see that around here every once in a while. Although I'm seriously thinking of getting this because while I have a good Spider-Man from the Renew Your Vows 2-pack, I really like this version, this head sculpt and this body for Mary Jane. So of course, as a convention, we have all these old Star Wars figures, but check this out. I love these things that Droid Factory is putting out. These like Universal Monsters droids, like we have R7 Fang, which is just Dracula. And then we have the R5 Zom, which is the zombie. And I love how like half of the dome is missing. I think that's hilarious. I love these things. If I collected Star Wars, I'd probably have some of these right here. But over here we have this, which I have 2 of these at home. $45 for the Superman mobile. I think I have 2 of these at home. This was This was really good. I like these. You don't see stuff like this much anymore. At least I haven't. We got a whole bin of old Mattel DC right here. I've been trying to dig into my 6-inch line, but they got this really cool Spectre right here that I like how he hovers up off of a cape. But there was this one. This Hawkman looks fantastic. I might have to get this one. So for whatever reason, I have a weird affinity for these Wonder Woman dolls. I have that one right there, but this one's only $8, and I'm not entirely sure where it's from. But I dig the blue hair dye. She comes with the sword. I don't know. I might pick this one up.
So as far as the Wonder Woman dolls go, for some reason I did get into these. And I think it's because, quite honestly, it's Wonder Woman and it's Mattel. And Mattel is the house that Barbie built. And for some reason, that made me think, Wonder Woman Barbies, I gotta get them. I mean, obviously they're not really Barbie dolls. They weren't made the same way. They weren't marketed the same way. They're definitely not priced the same way. These are just an example. These are both from Wonder Woman 1984. We got Wonder Woman here. We got Cheetah here. And unfortunately, the glue is coming off of this one that I might have to get some glue to reseal that. But when I saw the one figure for $8, and I believe that's from a animated series that was on a few years ago, like DC Superhero Girls or something like that. There was something about it that I really dug, and I wanted to pick that up. So I go to RetroCon and I start looking for some 6-inch DC figures, and I find two that I really liked. Like this Spirit figure right here, there's really not much to him. There's not much to articulation. His head will spin, his arms will move, they'll go up and down. He has single jointed elbows, nothing going on at the wrists. Legs will kick forward, legs will kick back a little bit, ankles pivot. Nothing really there. Doesn't even really have an ankle swivel or a thigh cut. But that's okay because he's really made to just sort of like stand here and menace. I always liked the idea of this character, the look of this character, where they use the cape to like sort of billow down and prop the Spectre up so it looks like he's hovering. So this is a really good piece because, like, I mean, like, what else do you need the Spectre to do? Also, they told me that he glows in the dark. I've had him sitting on a windowsill in the sun all day. So once we're done with this part of the video, we're going to turn the lights off and see if he actually glows. Dropped Diana's sword there for a second. And the other one we got was, I really liked this figure of Carter Hall. First of all, this is a great Hawkman figure. I love the bulk in the torso. He has all the articulation that you would need him to have. Arms, elbows, shoulders, bicep, single jointed elbow, big pegs, wrists swivel, but they don't hinge, which I'm okay with that. Legs will come forward. Legs will kick out to the side with that old hinge joint right there. Thigh cut, single jointed knees. No boot cut, no ankle rock, but ankles will rock back, ankles will rock forward a little bit, no pivot. And the head gets some good articulation going. Something that I really liked is that the wings articulate as well. They can spread out like that, but they also flap back, which I thought was a really nice touch, especially for a figure this old. I believe these are both Mattel. I don't know what line they came from. I don't know enough about them. How you see them is how I got them. So I know it was from Mattel. I don't know which line it came from. Almost forgot. He had all of his accessories, or at least as far as I know, he has all of his accessories. He has his shield with the hawk head on it. He has, of course, his nth metal mace. And he has a sword slung right here that looks like it's taken some dings, it's seen some action. I really dig that. And then that just fits in there. And Carter is ready for action. And then, of course, we got this Wonder Woman doll right here, which I do believe is from the, what was it called? Superhero Girls or something like that. Oh, let's get these guys out of there. And let's move her back so we can get a better look at her. Her face sculpt is beautiful. I love that. Let's just get that out of the way. I do like the blue streaks in her hair. Her hair is a little messed up. Do I have to actually get a doll brush now? You can see there are still like clear elastic straps around her body, which I don't know if it's holding the armor on or not, but it has better articulation than I was expecting. With the arms coming up, the arms will do a full rotation. Single jointed elbows, hinge and swivel at the elbow, wrists pivot, wrists hinge in and out. The head gets some really good articulation going as well, being able to look up, look down, tilt side to side, look left, look right. She has a waist cut or an ab crunch right there, get some hula hoop action going. And her legs will come forward. The skirt keeps it from really going forward into 90. They don't go out to the side. Single jointed knees, hinge and swivel at the knee. Nothing going on for the boot cut, nothing going on below the knee right there. So it's not action figure articulation, but it has better articulation than I was expecting. And I don't think this stand is supposed to go with her. I think they just put her on the stand and sold her with the stand just so that they could display her. Also, you'll notice that the sword keeps falling out. I don't think that sword belongs with her. That is, let me put her back up on her stand right here. Let's get her standing. Let's fix her skirt a little. Come on, Diana, pull yourself together. There we go. I'm not even sure the cape is meant to go with her either. But this sword is the Godslayer sword. I'm not sure what this is supposed to go with, but I don't think it's supposed to go with her. She can barely hold it. Like she can get a grip on it, but it keeps falling out of her hand. But they were selling it with her, so I wasn't going to complain about that. I dig the look of her. I really like the look of her. I think this looks good, and it's going to look good next to the other ones, even though I don't have any of the other ones open. But I do like this look. I like this outfit. She has her bracers on there. Definitely got to fix up her hair. But the moment we've been waiting for, let's turn off the lights and let's see what happens with the Spectre. Okay, I got to admit, for as old as the figure is, for as much as the guy was talking up the glow-in-the-dark feature, I wasn't expecting it to turn out this good. Spectre can really glow. I'm really digging this figure. I'm really liking this. Yeah, I'm glad I bought this guy. So I know this is like really dark, but like the theater by RetroCon is showing The Last Starfighter on the big screen this weekend. The actor that played Alex is here. The actor that played Maggie is at the con. This is going to be awesome. So Saturday, day one of RetroCon, closed out with a screening of The Last Starfighter. The movie theater that is just a stone's throw away from the Oaks Center, the Oaks Expo Center, where RetroCon takes place, was doing a screening of the movie, and that was really cool. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, The Last Starfighter is one of those Grail movies that, like, I just had to see on the big screen one more time. But whenever they show older movies in theaters, I always try and take advantage of that and go to see them, because you never know when you're going to see them on screen again. As a matter of fact, The Last Starfighter, I'll probably never see on the big screen again. It was just on the big screen. It was in a movie theater because it was RetroCon, and the two leads, Lance Guest, who played Alex, and Catherine Mary Stewart, who played Maggie, were at RetroCon. So that was just really cool that they did that. I really hope that maybe they start doing something like that in the following years. Getting to see it on the big screen and watching it with Uncle Britt, who, if you pay attention to the Ralph World podcast, we always talk about stuff like this. Him being Gen Z, watching movies that I grew up with and seeing like the evolution of movies, I can freely admit, and he admitted, that like the CG is janky. I mean, there's no other way to put it, but it was one of the first movies that ever did something like that. And it was really cool getting to watch it with him. We may talk about this in an episode of Ralph World, that he could appreciate what it did for CG graphics and that type of movie. But he also kind of got into the story. He got into the story. He got into the characters. He liked it because it was just fun, and there wasn't like it was about war and people died, but it wasn't about like, it wasn't heavy, which was something that I always liked about it too. Like, it was very much like this fun sci-fi romp that you just had a good time watching. And what made it even better was having Lance Guest and Catherine Mary Stewart there, that the next day they did their panel and we got to ask them some questions. I got to ask a question of, with that being CG being so prevalent now, and how hard was it for them to wrap their head around what was going on? And their answers were fantastic, that like it didn't really affect them because they were stage actors, and when you're on stage you are quite often acting to nothing, because like there's no fourth wall. The audience is out there. You have to see things in the distance that don't exist. You have to acknowledge things that didn't happen. So they were, their attitude was just, we just went in, we did what we were supposed to do, we acted, and the rest of it was production's problem. As long as we looked good and we were in focus, that our job was done. And it was hilarious. They were great. They were very generous. It was a great panel to sit in on. I didn't shoot any of it, so I apologize for that. But it was a really fun time getting to watch that movie and then getting to talk to them the next day about it.
I don't get into anime much, but like Demon Slayer is one thing that I love. And these are like toy replica katana that like the blades light up. That we have this one that's based on the Eye Demon, but then we have a nose case right here that I got this one. I really want the Wind Hashiros. I might be back, but Uncle Brittany got the metal one that is Rengoku's. These are really cool. And of course, as always, we have the Mythic Legion's 4 Horsemen, because there's Uncle Britt, because 4 Horsemen are everywhere, but they have a lot of their figure obscura, including Basset and Anubis. We have Marley and Red Death. The Horseman is around here somewhere, supposedly. He's on the list. He has to be here.
And I'd also like to add, if you look over here, this guy with the new game that just came out, Black Myth Sun Wukong, they make the monkey from the game.
Well, I think he's actually from Chinese legends.
Well, he is, but okay. The game's popular.
So, if I find the Horseman, I might buy some Mythic Legions for the first time.
So in addition to looking for everything that I wanted that wasn't there, there's also always those things that just kind of creep up on you when you go to those cons. And the last 2 clips that you saw really play into that. The Demon Slayer swords and Mythic Legions. Now, Mythic Legions is there all the time. And for the longest time, I thought it actually was the 4 Horsemen had a stand there. But I don't think it's the 4 Horsemen. I think it's just a vendor that deals almost exclusively with 4 Horsemen and a couple of other indie developers here and there, but they make their money basically off of Mythic Legions. Now, in that video, I didn't have any shots of the Horsemen, but the Headless Horseman, the figure obscura Headless Horseman, the second version was there. And it was the same price as Big Bad and Entertainment Earth. But I didn't buy it, and the main reason I didn't buy it is because when I go to conventions, especially something like RetroCon, I'm looking to spend my money on things that I'm not going to be able to find at the open market. Like, I can get the Horsemen from Entertainment Earth, or Big Bad Toy Store, so that's not something that was really like, I gotta get it. When everything else that we've been looking at so far in this video, that's the kind of thing that I was looking for. One thing that I did get, however, was the Demon Slayer swords. This, of course, is Tanjiro's, and check that out. I hope that's playing well on camera. These are so cool. I think these look really good. The back side of this is bamboo, like this part is bamboo. The cross piece, the handle is all plastic. This is real cloth wrapped around it. It will even move. So that's a real wrapping right there that I thought was really cool. And these run off of AAA batteries. But the light up of the blade, they didn't have these lit up at the convention. The light up of the blade just looks awesome. Like, that's much brighter than what I was expecting. As a matter of fact, I have video of what this looks like in the dark.
Okay, I don't know how, these batteries I have are old. I don't know how long they're going to last, but let me, here's Tanjiro's blade, and that's in the light. That's the blade in darkness. There's actually it's actually throwing some pretty good light right there. And here is the Eye Demon's sword. It's definitely brighter on the edge than it is on the sides, at least in the light. But let's get this light turned off. And there's the red blade. Not as much light as Tanjiro's white light, but I mean, were you expecting? But still, that's pretty good, I have to say.
So taking a better look at this one, this is not actually a hero sword from the show. The gentleman that sold it to me said that this was designed and inspired by the Eye Demon. Now, when he first said that, I thought I knew which one he was talking about. I thought he meant, Kokoshibu? I'm not good with the names on the demons. Kokoshibu, but I also thought it might be Yahaba. I think that's his name, the one with the eyes and the hands. And the only reason I thought that is because of the actual color of the eyes in the sword. But the more I think about it and the more I look at it, I do think it's based off of Kokoshibu, because you have all of these eyes along here. You have this great pattern. This is actually like raised. It's a little bit textured right there. That's really cool. And just like Tanjiro's, this is bamboo. This is the light up blade. You saw it lit up in the previous clip. We have eyes in the handguard right here. We also have eyes down the handle. Once again, these are real wraps, but you can also tell something else that I really like is that it is wrapped differently from Tanjiro's. So it's not the same material. It's not the same wrapping on both of them. They actually took the time to give them different wraps. So I really liked this one, and I wanted to pick this one up. These were only about $30 each, and Uncle Britt actually bought one too, but the one that he bought was metal because he wanted Rengoku's sword, and they didn't have it in a light up version, and he said that if they did have it in this version, he probably would have picked that one up, but he really wanted Rengoku's. They had it in the metal style. Maybe I'll get him to show it on camera at some point. But the blade was all black, and along the edge they had a flame job painted on it that looked fantastic. And of course it had Rengoku's like custom cross piece, his custom handguard right here. Now it was blunt, it's not edged, and I don't believe it's capable of holding an edge. It is made specifically for cosplay, which takes me to the next announcement. Uncle Britt and I are considering doing cosplay for the first time in our lives for RetroCon next year. He will be going as Rengoku, and I will be going as Tanjiro. And I think we're going to have a blast. We've never done this before, so I can't speak to how good the costumes are going to look, but we got our first pieces for it, and we are really looking forward. We are really looking forward to doing this. As a matter of fact, when we were there, I was looking for Tanjiro's earrings just so that I could get a head start on it. And I didn't find Tanjiro's earrings, but what I did find was this group, the Night Owl Designs. They do a lot of custom earrings, and when I was explaining what I wanted from them, or what I wanted for the costuming, they said they could custom design those, they could make those, so I'm going to be in touch with them, and that's going to be my first step for this cosplay. My ears were pierced. I'm not sure if they still are. I'm trying to look in the screen. I'll have to see if I can still push something through. The scars are still there. I can still feel the holes, but I'll have to try and push something through to see if they're still pierced or if I have to get them done again. But that's going to be really cool. I checked out their Instagram, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. A lot of custom earrings, some custom jewelry. They've done some stuff for Beetlejuice since Beetlejuice opened last weekend. They're worth checking out. So the cosplay and Night Owl Customs also takes us into the artwork that we took a look at. which will take us to that, which is over my shoulder. That is a Demon Slayer tapestry that was painted up by Potatobuns. Who's Potatobuns, you're asking? I'll let you know. There is a sister art team sure, why not? Sister art vendors that put up their work for sale, and they're at RetroCon all the time. And I've picked up some other stuff from them. You may have seen them on you may have seen their work on some Instagram photos that I've posted, or on previous videos when I've talked about the artwork that I've got at RetroCon. That's actually really cool. You got Tanjiro right there. Nezuko is up on the other side that's cut off, but I'll put a picture up here so you can get a better look at what they did. It is really vibrant. It really pops. On the video here, it's a little bit washed out because of all of the lights, but I really like it. It really looks good. Some other stuff that I picked up off of them this year is this image of Zenitsu. I really love this when he's like in sort of his meditative trance. This is by Potatobuns. Potatobuns is one of the sisters, and that's how she signs all of her work, and she did sign it for us. They always sign their stuff for us. They're fantastic. And then I picked up this original piece. This was done by the sister, Kathy100. And I have another piece by her that is a fairy on a lake, and this will go with that. The only social media I've been able to find them on, if you want to check them out, is Kathy100 at Kathy100 on Instagram, but it's a private account, so you have to wait for them to okay you if you want to follow them. They were on DeviantArt for a while. I think Potatobuns was on DeviantArt, and I found them there a few years ago. Lately, I haven't been able to find them, so they may have left DeviantArt and everything is just going to be up on Instagram now. Not entirely sure about that, but you should check them out. Their stuff is fun. Their stuff is real fun. We always get stuff off of them every year we go. Somebody else that I was able to pick up some stuff off of this year, somebody else that I pick up stuff off of every year, is Geek Boy Press. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't there last year because the convention, RetroCon, was going on at the same time as the Baltimore convention, and he had already booked himself there, so I missed out on him last year. You should check him out. All of his artwork is on Instagram. I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. And he is someplace every weekend. I follow him on Instagram. I swear the dude is always moving. He's always on the road. He's always selling his product. In the past, I've picked up artwork, prints off of him before, but I wanted to get something different off of him because he had a lot to offer. And I get these enamel pins that he does. The Scream pin I picked up the year before, not last year, but on 2024, I got the Scream pin off of him. This year, I picked up Beetlejuice right here. I also got a TARDIS, and I think Uncle Britt got a pin that was basically just Appa's head from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I know that one, he has images of the Appa pin on his Instagram. You should check that out as well. He does some really good stuff. I really like the pins. I have a feeling that's what I'm going to start getting off of him, because you get so many prints and you can only hang so many prints up. But the pins, especially when since I have them on this lanyard and I'm going to have to redistribute some of these, the pins are really cool. They're really shiny. They really pop. They look good. He also gave me a sticker. I don't have it with me right now, but there was 20th anniversary stickers that he's been doing this for 20 years. He's been living on the road and selling art for 20 years. How awesome is that?
Now we got the Joe trading cards right here. I have some of these packs back at home. I've opened up some of them. I might have opened them on camera. I can't really remember, but what I need to do is find like just a complete box so I can just get the box set all at once.
And finally, what would a convention be without G.I. Joe? Because if you've watched the show, you know G.I. Joe is my #1 fandom. It's the line I collect the most. It's the one I get the most excited about. And I'm always looking for something new from G.I. Joe whenever I go to these conventions. However, this year, it was very interesting because, first of all, like I said at the top of the video, the classified line wasn't nearly as prevalent this year as it has been other years. And more to the point, the classified figures that they did have, I already had, so there wasn't a whole lot there for me to get. last year I had started picking up 12-inch figures, but they didn't even have those there this year. I found out later there was a Jeep from the old line. There was a 12-inch scale Jeep with a Browning 50 cal, a Ma Deuce on it, that my friends told me about it, but after the fact, I didn't get to see it. I wish I would have seen it. I might have picked that up because it would have fit a lot of the figures that I have, the 12-inch figures that I have, and that would have been a really cool display piece to, like, you know, set it up, put a driver in there, put somebody in the passenger seat, put somebody on the Browning on back. That would have been really cool. But they also, like, didn't really have a lot of anything else for G.I. Joe. Like, there was a lot of lean towards Transformers and Ultimates, especially ThunderCats and Motu this year. G.I. Joe, they had some vintage stuff from the 3 3/4, but I've mentioned before, I'm not going to get into that line again. I have collected that line already. I don't want to try and rebuild that collection that I used to have. I would rather collect things that are new, like classified, or things I've never had before, like the 12-inch line or 12-inch figures, which is also why I get some of the 3-0 stuff. One thing that I did get that I'm really excited about, Michael Bell was there. He was the voice of Duke. And while I have said many times I was never really a fan of the cartoon, I was more into the comics, I had to get my Duke autographed right there. It was just really cool to meet him. I got to shake his hand because whether I like the cartoon now or not, it had a huge impact on me when I was a kid, had a huge impact on my fandom for G.I. Joe, and it was really great getting to meet him. I didn't get a photo with him for a couple of reasons, but like getting those photos, especially when it's just on your phone, like I feel like eventually I'm accidentally going to delete it, or it's going to get corrupted, or it's going to get lost. I'd never get prints made, and I don't know, like to me having the autograph and that memory of getting to shake his hand and thanking him and just him smiling, you know, and I know he probably smiles at everybody that says thank you and shakes his hand, but like the memory and having the autograph to me is something more than getting a photo with him. Like, this is cool. This is really cool to me. But there was other things for G.I. Joe that was there, that once again, the Finest was there, which is a G.I. Joe costume group, community, I'm not exactly sure, costume club maybe, sort of like to G.I. Joe what the 501st is to Star Wars. The only difference is that like a lot of the Finest, from what I remember, and I should have looked this up before I started shooting, but a lot of the members of the Finest, I believe, are veterans, and a lot of the money they raise, it doesn't just go to their organization. They donate a lot to veterans funds, veterans causes. Like one year I went up there, the money that they raised was going towards Wounded Warriors. I think it was last year the money they raised was going towards Pets for Vets. So I think that's what it was called, like getting support animals for vets with PTSD. So they do a lot of good as well, and I really like them. I really appreciate them. Their costuming looks great. Once again, I didn't get any photos of them or any video of it, but I did make some donations and I got some stuff, and we're going to take a look at that right now. So what would a convention be without bagging some G.I. Joe swag in the end, right? You've already seen this one, but I thought I would give you a closer look at the autograph on it. Yo, Joe, his name, and then he just signed Duke right here in the helmet. This was so cool. I mean, this was really cool. The gentleman who did the voice of Shipwreck was supposed to be there as well, but he had to back out at the last minute. I was kind of bummed about that. I was real glad I got Michael's signature, though, because I have a boxed Shipwreck that I was going to get signed as well, but I got Duke autographed, and that's the really cool part. This guy back here, this is one of the things that was given with a donation to the Finest. I did obviously donate to the Finest, and I will leave a link to them in the description below so that you can take a look at it and see what they're all about. Maybe join if you want to. This is one of those old styrofoam gliders. It has a light up cockpit and it has like G.I. Joe stickers for it. I'll probably never open this up. I won't fly it, but it's just cool to have. It's just like a nice little piece, you know, with G.I. Joe plastered all over it, which I think is cool for me. Now, the other thing that we have here is that I have taken to, whenever I go to a convention or anything like this, what I try to track down is either a Cobra Trooper or a Cobra Officer to fill out the ranks of my Cobra units, to army build basically. Well, this year I found a Python Patrol Officer and decided I couldn't pass up on that, because for as time goes on, the Cobra Officers and the Cobra Troopers are going to become rarer and rarer, especially boxed up, because this one was in box. I have him unboxed, but he was in box. So having them in box with all of the accessories is going to become rarer and rarer. And so I figured it's rare to find a Python Patrol figure now, so I just went for the Python Patrol Officer. He was at the standard price. He was only 20 bucks. So I figured, why not build up the Python Patrol ranks while I'm at it? And next year I can get another officer or a trooper. Maybe even a cardback trooper will be available at that point. Now you're probably wondering why this is here. What does this have to do with G.I. Joe? Well, if you've been watching the videos on the Dreadnoks, you may be able to piece that one together. That, first of all, this is Sting. I don't really know what line this comes from. I would guess Mattel, maybe. The only thing that says on the bottom right here is, whoops, no, I was right the first time. The only thing it says on the bottom right here is 1999 WCW, 1999 Marvel. Marvel Enterprises. Was this Toy Biz? And then made in China. And it does have lights and sounds. Behold. Get a little engine revving. These light up over here and you can push in on this. There you go. So what I'm going to use this for is I'm going to pop Sting off. I'm going to give this thing a bath, probably paint the gas tank again. Or not again, but paint the gas tank, just make it a matte black to get rid of Sting on there. And this is going to be one of my Dreadnought bikes, because if Sting fits, one of the Dreadnoughts are going to fit. And I think that's just going to look cool. I may end up giving this to Ripper. I'm not entirely sure yet. It's no surprise. Ripper's my favorite Dreadnought. I may give him the coolest bike. We'll have to wait and see. Now, in addition to all of that, the Finest also gives out pieces of artwork for their donate whenever you donate as well. Help Defeat Cobra, great picture of Scarlet. The artwork is really unique. The style of the artwork is really unique. And then it says, join the Finest, a G.I. Joe costume club. Visit your local Finest recruitment office today. And then it has Cobra the Enemy right there. And they had a bunch of Joes to select from, but I picked Scarlet here because last year, I may have shown this to you, I picked up Baroness, Cobra Intelligence Division, Strength through Intelligence, the Finest right here. So I wanted to get Scarlet, so then I have a matched set with Scarlet and Baroness. So that was RetroCon 2024, and we had a blast. Like I said at the start, this was probably one of the best RetroCons we have been to. Just the crowd that was there, the vendors that were there, the celebrities that were there, getting Duke to sign his figure, getting the tapestry of Nezuko and Tanjiro. The swords were cool, getting the idea of finally doing cosplay next year, getting to see the Last Starfighter on the big screen. We had a blast. And we are already like in anticipation for next year. As I've said, this is basically the start of our holidays. This is the start of RetroTember now this year. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've ever thought about going out to RetroCon, if you've ever heard of RetroCon, if you've ever wondered what it's like and you have a chance to go, I highly recommend checking it out. They have a great weekend pass, gets you in early. The prices are so low. They always have stuff there for raffling. They have DJs there, like Cybertronic Spree. I didn't even talk about that. Cybertronic Spree is there every year as well, putting on a great show. So I will leave a link to the RetroCon webpage in the description below. I will leave a link to as much as I can, as much as we've talked about, in the description below. And if you're thinking about checking it out next year and you have the means to do so, I highly recommend doing it. Don't touch that dial. Before you go, please remember to do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a member, whether through YouTube memberships or our coffee monthly subscription. Links to that in the description below. Both of them for $1 a month. You can get access to exclusive content, such as our monthly member exclusive video. This month is the Hasbro G.I.Joe Classified Series Stinger. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.